then the topic, and then I will hand over to you.
Sure.
With all your permissions, I am starting this session.
Sure.
Good evening, everyone present here. I welcome all the participant doctors on today's session. Let's welcome today's speaker with great honor, Dr. Amit Bhondwe, sir. Sir has done MBBS, MD, Assistant Professor at SIT, GSMC and KEM Hospital. Today he is going to speak on a topic, new COVID variant XBB.1.16. Let me tell you overview of the topic. The new COVID-19 variant XBB.1.16 is responsible for the surge in the cases in India. However, it has been seen all through the variant is highly infectious, and it is not led by any increase in the rate of hospitalization or mortality. To speak more about this topic, I would like to invite sir and hand over this session to sir. Over to you, kindly proceed from here.
Hello and good evening, everyone. It's my great pleasure to deliver this topic to all the esteemed doctors over here, all my colleagues who have joined this event from various parts of the India or maybe across the borders as well. At the outset, I would like to thank MedTalks for giving me this opportunity to interact with you all on this very interesting and novice topic of new COVID virus XBB.1.16. So I should start with my presentation. Kindly accept my apologies for the delay incurred. Yeah. So first of all, we know COVID. It's been there since past now 3 years, and new variant has emerged, and this new variant is a subvariant of the beta variant. So XBB is like beta of the previous variant, and it is also called as Arcturus. Arcturus is basically a name of a star, which is a very shiny star in the galaxy and which is hidden far off. So probably the name behind, probably the scientists have thought that because it has got the maximum transmissibility till date. Like what we've seen in past 3 to 4 months. Like it started off with XBB 1.5, and now it is XBB 1.16. Both of these viruses or both of these variants have told us about how the virus is changing rapidly, how it is outsmarting us in every aspect of the mutation, and the difference between, you will also see the difference between XBB 1.5 and 1.116, how it has changed itself, which proteins it is changing itself, and how it is trying to evade. Like, it is the old theory, like in many of you might have heard this or might have read this, of course, that in the 17th century, 1970s, the 7th decade of 2000 year, it was seen that earlier the mosquitoes were resistant to DDT, right? But mosquitoes were susceptible to DDT, and we were actually aiming of eradication of malaria. But later on, mosquito themselves developed this resistance to DDT, and the dream of eradicating the malaria was evaded. Similarly, this virus is mutating itself, and now this new virus has shown that it is getting several mutations, and by those mutations, it is trying to evade the immunity. So, agent characteristics. So, XBB 1.16 has 14 mutations in the spike protein. The mutations are E4, 8, K and N501Y mutations, which is associated with the increased transmissibility, and reduced antibody recognition. And this recombinant of it is a recombinant of BA.2.10 and BA sublineages and BJBF. So it's a recombinant of two types of viruses and two types of BA and BJ. Variant had shown more resistant to neutralization by convalescent plasma. Okay, so the studies which will see those studies, which studies are saying what, but it is shown to be more resistant to neutralization by convalescent plasma. It is resistant to monoclonal antibodies for some vaccines, including AstraZeneca and Johnson & Johnson, but Pfizer Biotech. So it is a study. So we are not, these studies are not confirmatory. However, one of those studies, we'll see which study is that, and Moderna vaccine remain effective. That's what this is. These are very primary studies. I'm not quoting anything out of these studies, but only one study is suggestive of that it is effective, or the Pfizer and Moderna vaccines are effective against it. So what are the current cases? So as we've seen in the first slide, that it was detected, or rather it was detected in South Africa, and it was first detected in South Africa 4 months back, where it was a virus of concern, the VOC rather, and where virus under the it was first of all virus under investigation. So it was VUI earlier, but while they investigated it and while they were they thought about it, or they researched more about it, and they kept it under observance, or kept it under the surveillance, viruses under surveillance. Now they have marked it as virus of concern VOC. And in South Africa, this variant has become the dominant strain, because earlier the dominant strain in the world was Delta. In India, it is still Delta, but we are seeing quite a few cases of XBB.1.16, and accounting over 90% cases in South Africa. It is spreading in rapidly in UK, US, and Canada as well. And the concern again here is it has got higher transmissibility than the previous variants. So globally, it's a new concern. There have been surge, and this, as I already have told you about, that it is a variant of concern according to WHO. So many countries, South Africa, UK, are thinking about having the restrictions. They are thinking about putting those restrictions on international travels. So international travel to and away from UK has already been under the scrutiny, where it was very free, but now they are scrutinizing their passengers for VOC. India. So as of yesterday, there has been 874 confirmed cases of XBB. This is confirmed cases of XBB. We know COVID is rising, but when they have gone for genome typing, so it's for genomic sequencing of XBB.1.16, every positive case doesn't go for genome sequencing. I would like to mention that every case does not go for genome sequencing, at least in India. But as far as the cases which have gone for genome sequencing, 874 is a larger number. And now we are taking several measures. You know that in the hospitals, specifically in Mumbai, the municipal corporation, or BMC, Brand Mumbai Municipal Corporation, has already put on some restrictions. Specifically, they have told the geriatric people to wear masks. They are at the communal gatherings, at the crowded places. They have told people who are immunocompromised to wear masks at crowded places, and in the hospitals, we all have been told to wear masks. So it is more transmissible. It is said that it is 1.74 times more transmissible as that of the previous variants. Previous variants in the concern, Delta, because India was hit hard by Delta wave. So that's why it is comparison with the Delta as far as the Indian standards are concerned. And it is spreading rapidly in South Africa. The exact mode of transmission, that's it's not known. That means it's not newer. Newer exact mode of transmission is not known, but the older one, it still holds true. It is getting transmitted by the other the routine routes, by mode of transmission being direct contact and indirect way of transmission of aerosols also. So indirect way of transmission by aerosol is getting investigated in details by some of these studies. We'll see that. Symptoms, yeah. So there have been reports of variation in symptoms in with this variant, and that's one of the matter of concern. That's why we are little concerned about it, because some of the doctors practicing in Delhi have told us that this vaccine, the newer variant is coming up with symptom like conjunctivitis. Whether it is actual viral conjunctivitis, we don't know yet because the reports are not there. But the conjunctivitis-like symptoms have been reported in quite a few young adults and children. So quite a few young adults and children have been getting reported with conjunctivitis-like symptom. They are having excessive watery discharge from their eyes. They are having rashes in their eyes. So these are the newer symptoms. That's what some of the doctors have observed. There have not been any studies. Okay. Causes of concern. Yes, it is definitely cause of concern due to its ability to evade immunity. Yes, that evasion of immunity, is already discussed, is vis-a-vis related to the 14 mutations in the spike protein. Okay, it is higher transmissibility. It has got higher transmissibility as that of the previous version, which is XBB.1.16, which was called as Kraken, earlier virus. Now this virus is called as Arcturus. So there's a difference between these two. So this is higher transmission. I'd rather mention here that this is what I think, that every time the virus is coming up with a previous version, which is a little lesser transmissible and probably is, it is not evading the vaccine immunity at least. So it is having effect. Most of the vaccines are effective against the earlier, like for an example, Kraken. So Kraken was highly transmissible, but it did not have enough strength or enough mutation rather to evade vaccine-derived immunity. However, this new variant, XBB.1.16, has developed mutations which are actually evading the vaccine-derived immunity. So that is again a cause of concern for all of us. However, Moderna and Pfizer, that's what is one study. You see that study, which that study is showing effect against that. So that's quite promising. And another promising thing here is there are very less severe cases. So severity is not yet been reported, and hospitalization also are with little lesser compared. Vaccine studies. So several studies, several in the sense 7 to 8 studies have examined the effectiveness of the current vaccine against the new variant. Pfizer, BioNTech, and Moderna vaccine have been shown to be effective against the variant. However, AstraZeneca and Johnson & Johnson vaccines have not been able to show any efficacy against the current strain. So current research. So researchers are currently studying the variant and trying to understand its transmissibility, develop new treatment and vaccines. So if at all the older vaccines can be updated the way the previous vaccines have been doing, and also to work on the treatment and the vaccine that can target the variant. Also, the efficacy vaccine against is maybe due to compared to other variant, but still providing protection against some diseases. So it is, some of the vaccines are providing against immunity against the hospitalization and the severity of illness. So I'd like to discuss summary of some studies, because of course we practice evidence-based medicines, and these are one of the most cited studies, which I shall discuss the results about. So one was Tigali et al. they reported the detection. So that's the first study which reported the detection of variant in South Africa and described its genetic characteristic, which I already told you about the agent characteristics. They also found out that the large number of mutations, there are 14, including those in the spike protein. So up till now, just a trivia, 300 total mutations have taken place from the first detected virus, SARS-CoV-2. So that virus has mutated 300 times till what we are seeing now. So this is the current current variant of concern, or current variant in transmission, if at all we consider. So including those in the spike protein, they may affect its antigenicity and transmissibility. So it affects its antigenicity also and the transmissibility. So antigenicity is affection towards the ACE2 inhibitors as well as the transmissibility. They found that the vaccine was able to induce the neutralizing antibodies against the XBB.1.16 variant and provided protection against the viral infection animal. Okay, so in animal, vaccine was able to induce neutralizing antibodies. As far as the new COVID-19 variant XBB and the Delta. So because we always compare with that, so mutations, 1.16 has more mutations in the spike protein, including that have been seen in the other variants like beta and gamma. And it is of higher transmission, 1.74 times higher transmission. The studies are showing, I've already discussed about the study, the symptoms, limited data, but some of the observations from some of the doctors in Delhi have seen the case of conjunctivitis also. And epidemiologically speaking, Delta was rather a dominant virus in entire world, and it has been replaced, if at all, might be replaced by the newer variant as it has got replaced in South Africa. So yes, so as far as the treatment and the vaccine is considered, I would urge, and you should also urge all the health seekers which are going to come to your hospital or your clinics or your friends and relatives, you should ask them to get vaccinated with the booster dose also. The booster dose is definitely going to incur the extra, going to offer them rather extra immunity, though not with the new variant. However, it is going to give them an extra immunity as far as the hospitalization and the mortality is considered. And they should also be vaccinated if at all they are more than 60 years of age and having any immunocompromised status. So, and the young adolescents rather, should get their doses also, as the Government of India guidelines have come up. So these are my references. Yeah, and these are exactly the number of studies which have taken place. Okay, these many are the studies and these many are the researches till now about the XBB.1.16. That's from my side. If any questions, I'd love to answer those questions. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, for giving your valuable time and sharing your knowledge with us and making this session informative one, sir. I definitely think this session knowledge is going to help all the participants who have joined this session. We have received some question from the participant, and if you allow, can I take this question with all your permission?
Sure.
Yes, sir. I can see the question is, are the variants more likely to cause infection, disease, and death in the people who are already vaccinated?
Yeah. So as far as the current research is considered, so I'd like to quote a study done by, so there's a study done by Huang et al. In 2022, and it is assess the immunogenicity and protective efficacy of an inactivated SARS-CoV-2 vaccine against the current variant and other lineages. And they found that vaccine was able to induce neutralizing antibodies against the XBB. So that means even we are getting neutralizing antibodies against the XBB. Whatever vaccines we have received, they are definitely giving the protection against the severity of the disease. I'll again repeat that point. It is giving us a good uh, protection against the severity, hospitalization, and the mortality. However, in vitro studies, I'm talking about all the studies which I've done till now are in vitro. So they have done in the lab. Actual community studies have not yet been done, but whatever in vitro studies are there, the other vaccines like Pfizer Biotech is giving the additional immunity. But whatever is being studied and whatever has been projected, vaccine is offering a good immunity against the hospitalization and mortality. However, transmissibility, it is not giving much. So we might see the rise of the cases, but we might not see the rise in the hospitalization. Thank
Okay,
you.
sir. Thank you so much, sir, for explaining it really well, sir. I can see, sir, a couple of questions are there. And the question is, what makes new COVID variant XBB.1.16 different from other variants?
Yeah. So if you just refer to one of the slides which I had made, it was a head-on comparison between the Delta and the current virus. So the Delta and current virus is showing that as compared that mutation. So number of mutations are more this time. It has got 14 mutations as compared to the Delta. It has got 14 higher mutations, specifically in the spike protein. And again, it is, it is evading immunity. Vaccine-derived immunity is definitely evading. It has got higher transmissibility, higher transmission rates are there. And the new symptoms, which I told you about, like, these are just the observations, preliminary observations. These are the new symptoms. As far as the Kraken, the just previous version is considered, it is as compared to Kraken, it is similar. Kraken also had a higher transmissibility, but it is higher than Kraken. Kraken could not evade the vaccine-derived immunity, but this is actually proving to be evading the vaccine-derived immunity. So these are the comparisons between the Delta and Arcturus, and Arcturus, this variant versus the Kraken. This is the previous variant.
Okay, thank you so much for explaining it really well, sir. I hope that participant have received his answer. And so the last question for today's session is how new COVID variant XBB.1.16 is transmitting.
Yeah, so it is transmitting again with the same modes of transmission. Some of the study, there's only one study, if I could quote, yeah, so there is one study called Pango Lineages, which says that it is also has ability to highly transmissible, or has increased its ability to transmit through aerosols. Okay, so only one addition, just one study is suggesting that it is more transmissible through aerosol. Otherwise, the way the transmission cascade is absolutely same, by direct contact as well as the indirect respiratory ways, and direct contact being the higher. Okay, and that's why we say that, again, washing of hands, maintaining safe distance, and using the mask are going to be the key game changers again to prevent the further spread of the virus, to break the chain of transmission.
Okay, thank you so much for answering all the questions, sir. It was a really wonderful session from your end. I hope that this information is going to help all the participants who have joined this session, which is one of the most important topic to be discussed. And sir, as we can see, there is no more question from the participant end. Shall we conclude this session with all your permission?
Would love.
Okay, sir. Thank you so much, sir, and take care of yourself, and hope to see you again with different topics.